Hi everyone. I have a testimony and I'm going to be real honest. This one is a little more difficult to share because it requires me to I have to go there. I have to share some things that are, they're real. They're not as flattering. They're difficult. I've mentioned before, and you probably know by now, I'm the founder of a foundation called Fighting for Me. We offer free counseling to men, women, and children affected by sexual abuse. And I started that foundation because that is my story. My father molested and raped me as a child into my teens, and it was really difficult for me to overcome all of that. And counseling was the most logical help that I could think to give people. Because for me it was really difficult to narrow down which therapist to go to with insurance, and it was really expensive. It was just a lot to figure out. So I'm so sad that people need Fighting for Me, but I'm also grateful that we're able to help in some way. But as a result of a lot of things that I went through, I had these, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna call them addictions, because just like a person addicted to drugs who just couldn't go a day without that drug, I could not go through life without being wanted. Having men want me or want my body, or let me just say, my sexual identity became the most important thing to me. It was how I got things. It was how I learned how to survive in the world, how to manipulate people to get where I thought I needed to be. And I don't really know that I was thinking about it that way at the time, but I definitely used my body and my looks and my sexuality to get through the day and the weeks and the years. And it's pretty crazy that even though I had times where, on the outside it looked like everything was going for me. I had money in the bank, I had cars, I had a home, healthy kids, a marriage, and yet there was this inner war, this, discontentment. I was not okay in my own skin because I was like drowning in my life without having that negative, nasty, dirty attention. And so I was unfaithful to my husband, and I didn't just end up unfaithful and then divorced. I was wicked. I would say I was like a sexual predator, like a sniper. I didn't even necessarily like the men, or I wasn't even attracted to some of them. I just wanted to see if I could get them to do what I wanted them to do. And I'm so embarrassed and I'm ashamed to say that today, but that was what I woke up to do. I woke up to do evil every day for many years. And there was this particular day where I woke up, I pick up my cell phone, and I was going to, just like all the days before this day, start texting and seeing who I was going to see that night and what plans I was going to make, and who was going to be there, what kind of trouble was I going to get into. And there was something different, something really different. It was like that hunger for that thrill of getting into something I knew I shouldn't be getting into was not there. And I remember I put the cell phone down and I just sat at the edge of my bed thinking, what's this all about? Well, what am I going to do if I'm not doing that? I don't know who I am without that, without these meaningless, selfish relationships, if you could even call them that. And I had this thought, and it said, you need to go running. I thought, running? If you know me, I hated the 20-minute run. I could not ever run the mile in high school. I was always really fit and athletic, but I didn't love running. I was strong, but my endurance game was pretty weak. And so for me to put on my tennis shoes and my workout clothes, And I was living in Arizona at the time. And if you don't know, Arizona is really hot. I mean, really hot. We're talking over 100 degrees in the daytime. And yet, I got my two little boys together, their helmets on, got their scooters, and we headed out the door. And I went for my first jog. And I remember feeling like I was gonna die pretty quickly because it was so hot in the middle of the day and the sun was beating down on me, and I didn't know how to run. I didn't have that cadence, that rhythm. I didn't understand my body in that way, what I could and couldn't do. I had never tried anything like this before, but there was just something so deep inside of me that said, this is what you need to do right now. Go for a run. And so I remember I just put my earbuds in, and I cranked up the music as loud as I could on my iPod so that I couldn't hear myself breathing. So as I got going, and I probably sounded like I was gonna die to everybody I was passing, I was able to just ignore that and power through. I didn't make it very far, but I was so amazed that I was able to get down the street to the park and get back without dying. And that would be the beginning of a whole new chapter for me. Time would go by, and I would go running at 10 o'clock at night because the sun was down, and it would usually dip below 100 degrees around then. It was still really hot, 96, 97 degrees, but at least the sun wasn't beating down on me. And as I was learning how physically strong I really was, I also was learning that I was okay being alone. That I actually enjoyed time with myself and not having somebody talk at me or want me or expect things of me. And after a few months, I was running miles through the desert on sidewalks. I was amazed. It honestly is like a supernatural strength that wasn't even mine. I just had to be willing to lean into that first jog step, and then it was like God was carrying me along the way. And I would go all day working, taking care of the kids, and I could not wait to get my alone time. Whereas usually I couldn't wait to get my, company time, where who am I going to see, what's going to happen. And it was just that this total change started to happen. And before long, I was noticing that I would get invitations to go out drinking or to go out clubbing. And I was saying no. It's almost like I'm hearing myself, but it's like I was surprised. Like, who are you? You know what I mean? Who is this new person? And now I've given my life to Jesus. My aim to blaze for him full time, truthfully. But at the time, I didn't know him. I didn't know God. I didn't know anything about Jesus. And I look back at that moment, that day, that morning, where I believe God spoke it into my heart to go for that run. And I am just so glad that he loved me enough to speak to me, to get in front of me, to help me by removing the desires to do wicked and evil. And he allowed me the choice to say, I want to do something different so I can get something different. And as difficult and as messy it is for me to kind of talk about those things, I really truly believe that it will help somebody out there who's in the middle of their mess. And listen to that still small voice that you hear, or that gut feeling that you have telling you, you know what, let's try this way, let's try something different. Because you never know, it really could just be the Lord God Almighty that's knocking on your door and just trying to get a moment with you, just to get you quiet, just to pull you away so that you can know the most amazing relationship you have ever known. I know that's what happened for me. And I pray this blesses you. And until next time, see ya.